He opened the door before I could knock, as if he had been watching me from within. "Hey, you must be Kyle." I nodded, smiling. He appeared to be in his mid-40s, wearing heavy glasses that made his eyes appear unnaturally big. He was wearing a Jurassic Park worker shirt. The toy sets downstairs. I got a control panel, replica sound reels, and original prompts. I still freeze when I hear someone talking about Jurassic Park. I've loved the movie since I was a child. I collect posters, figures, and even toys from cereal box bootlegs. Last summer, on a collector's forum, a man put up a prototype set from the original 1993 merchandising line for sale. He stated it originated from his late uncle who worked on the film's prompts. I sent him a message saying I would like to buy it. He replied, he only accepts local pickup, so I'll have to drive to his place to get it. I got his address and found out he lives on the outskirts. When I reached his house, a weird discomfort ignited in my mind. The house was particularly covered in trees and set back from the main road as if the forest was attempting to reclaim it. "You'll love it," he said, his voice a little too rehearsed, almost mechanical. I shrugged it off, assuming he was just a nerd, and followed him down a narrow wooden staircase. The basement door was marked with a yellow and black warning stripe, and above it, in the iconic Jurassic Park font, read "Welcome to Jurassic Park." Similar to the scene at the visitor center, even the iconic music was playing from hidden speakers. It was wild. There were photographs all over the walls, photos of people smiling while posing next to the props. Dude, this is wild. I know, right? Who wouldn't want to spend hours here? Saying this, he turned to me with a big smile. Stepping inside, I was flabbergasted. It was a complete set. In one corner, a life-sized raptor head emerged from jungle foliage. Tire marks on the ground suggested a jeep had been driven there, and red emergency lights flickered. As I turned, I saw a raptor, animatronic, slowly emerging from the foliage, its eyes gleaming in the dark. It screamed so loud that my ears went numb. I rushed to the door and found it locked. When I turned to shout, the man stood behind me. His face looked ominous. "Kyle, you're now a member of the park. Each of the guests contribute to the story." He kept staring without blinking, and that's when I felt my chest tighten a bit. "Where's the toy set?" He took me to the rear of the basement, where he had built an exact duplicate of the movie's computer lab. It looked straight out of the movie. There were screens set up with CCTV capturing various angles of his property. One of the monitors had a live feed of myself. I realized he had been monitoring me since I arrived. That's why he opened the door before I could even knock. He pressed a switch and said, "You know, I tried my best to have a Jurassic Park of my own." I heard something large brush against the artificial trees behind me. It felt like I was having difficulty breathing in this madness. Suddenly, I noticed a red emergency light flashing above a cage. I ran towards it, thinking of nothing but survival. But there was a life-sized replica of a baby triceratops within. Not just that, there were torn pieces of human clothing with stains of blood on them. A horrifying realization dawned on me as I noticed the pile of sneakers, glasses, and watches in the corner. This cage had been used to imprison people. The thought sent shivers down my spine, especially when I remembered the wall of photos. It was clear this man lured Jurassic Park fans to his house, only to torture them for his own twisted amusement. Oh my God, what did I get myself into now? I thought, panicking. I rushed back into the main area to find a way out amidst the disturbing raptor noises and false finds. However, the surroundings were changing now. A fog machine started up loud. Thunderclaps rang out from speakers. The entire space seemed to come to life. As the floor panels moved slightly beneath my feet, the lights suddenly went out, leaving me in complete darkness. "You're not supposed to touch it." I saw the man coming out from the dark, trying to stop me, but I pushed him with all my strength and sprinted to the door. I ran up the stairs, without looking back. I could hear heavy footsteps and screams behind me. Once I got out and hopped into my car, the man was already on the porch. The only things I could clearly hear and see were the thunder raptor house and the man's laughter echoing through the basement. My mind raced. Focusing on the control panel, I rushed back, frantically flipping every switch I could. Lights flickered, and monitors sprang to life. Then, with a sudden click, I heard the metal lock disengage, and the basement door creaked open a crack. "Hey, what are you doing?" a voice boomed. I sped out thinking he would chase me. I drove so recklessly that I hit his mailbox. He watched me going through all the emotions at once, but didn't do anything to stop me. I made an anonymous report to the cops about this man, but no leads have surfaced on the matter. I think the cops thought someone was drunk dialing them. It happened in the summer of 2004, when I was 12. My best friend Leo and I were spending a weekend at my grandparents' property in rural Nebraska. My parents used to drop me out there every summer, but this was the first time they let me bring Leo. We recorded our own version of Jurassic Park using my dad's old camcorder, as we were both major fans of the movie. We rushed across cornfields on Saturday, acting as though rapt actors were after us. Leo had a toy flare that he would wave around while feigning to divert a T-Rex, and I wore a cowboy hat like Dr. Grant. It was dumb fun. Then we laughed the whole time. There was no smartphones back then, only antiquated VHS tapes and imaginations. Who would believe that a man has built his own personal Jurassic Park at home, where he traps victims to heap with his animatronic dinosaurs? In the early afternoon, we strolled past the ancient red barn and reached the property's back boundary, which was farther from the house. We noticed the fence at that point. It was a tall white air fence that ran the length of the field, with signs reading, "Electric fence spaced every few feet." To most kids, that would be the end of the story. Being only 12, we didn't care about the risks, and just went for it. The scene from Jurassic Park immediately sprang to mind. The child scaling the electric fence, only to be zapped off when the power returns. I tugged Leo's arm, telling him, "Dude, we have to recreate that electric fence scene here. It looks exactly like the movie." Leo, however, was hesitant. "Is it really electric? What if it turns on?" I reassured him, pointing out, "Look, Grandpa doesn't even keep the cows back here in the summer, and there's no buzzing sound. It's probably not even working anyway. You just need to climb for a second. I'll pretend to turn it on and count down, just like in the movie. Everything will be recorded. It's going to be wonderful." He paused, but I could tell he didn't want to look scared. We were all already recording everything on the camera. He looked at me with a nervous smile, took a deep breath, and walked up to the fence. "Ready?" I asked. Leo gripped the wires and nodded. He started the climb. I was totally unaware that the fence was on timer. The camera fell from my hand. My heart was beating so fast I couldn't hear anything else. I ran toward him while screaming his name. He was still hanging on the wires, with his head tilted back and his eyes wide open, but not blinking. I didn't know what to do at first. 3, 2, 1. Power's back on. Pointing my finger at him like I was flipping a switch, I yelled. That was the time it happened. There was a terrible snap, like the crack of a whiff. Leo screamed. He jerked very hard. He held onto the wire so tight that his palms turned white. He kicked his legs once, and then twice. After that he stopped moving. I didn't see the electrocution. I had no desire to. His death was ruled an accident, and everyone said it wasn't my fault, that I was just a child, but I knew I was to blame. I'd convinced him it was safe. For weeks after the funeral, I didn't talk much or eat much. Most nights, I stayed up late, staring at the ceiling, hearing his screams, and seeing his terrified face and flailing legs when I closed my eyes. I desperately wanted to go back. My biggest regret was not climbing it with him. The questions, the investigation, or the funeral, none of it was as difficult as living with that. My grandfather ran out to see my face. When I arrived at the house, I was unable to even speak. All I did was point where I left Leo. They found him. Minutes later, the fence was turned off, but it was too late. He had left an ambulance, arrived after the sheriff. They grabbed the camcorder's tape and had all been captured on tape. It hurt my hand when I touched the fence while trying to pull him down. It was turned on full. We were too far from the house, so no one heard my cry for help. When I realized no one's gonna come, I took off running. I can't recall how I made it to the house. I only recall screaming until my throat dried up and my legs burned.
I am unable to. It reminds me too much. The fence, the music, and the dinosaurs all transport me back to that one moment I wish I could take back. I get startled when I pass a metal gate or come across a warning sign. Leo was my best friend, and I killed him. It was meant to be another weekend in the summer, just another stupid reenactment of a movie, but it ended.
The most haunting memory, for me, is recalling the expression on Leo's face just before he skilled the forced smile, as if he wanted to withdraw, but didn't want to disappoint me more than anything. That look haunts me. I still dream about that fence. Years later, still floating in the air, Leo is jerking and then stopped moving. I see him in my dreams asking, "Are you shirts off?" Guilt never goes away for a while. It simply hides. That tape is still in my parents' attic, somewhere. It is no longer discussed. However, I am aware of its existence. I am also aware of what's on it. Since that day, I haven't handled a camcorder. In addition, it has been years since I last saw Jurassic Park,